Hello and welcome everybody to the latest edition of the Buy Round Interview Show. Now today I am joined by one of the best forwards in the competition, a Premiership winner, a State of Origin winner, a World Cup winner as well, and surprisingly only 24. Welcome Tino Fa'asuamaleaui. Am I right in that the correct pronunciation?
Yeah, no, that's good. That's very good. Better than some of the others. So thanks for having me.
No, thanks for joining us on the show. First off the knee, how's things shaping up?
Yeah, no, everything's tracking well. I think just getting through rehab. It's a real slow process, but just started running the other week, which was good on the Ultra G machine. And yeah, it's a bit of a strange one. I've never had a big injury like this before, so just sort of learning and getting through it as I go.
Yeah, what type of watcher of football are you? So you're out there, you're the leader of the team. You can't be with them. I'm sure you're still influencing them in and around the training ground. But what are you like when you're in the stands and watching the lads go at it?
It's tough because I just want to be out there to help them and sort of get through the game with them and be there for my teammates. But I'm kind of that guy that just gets aggressive at the TV. I think people hate watching the game with me because I just sort of yell at the TV and just a big fan, to be honest, and just getting angry like, boys, what are you doing, or cheering and just full of emotions. And like I said, people hate watching the game with me, but that's just the way I am, I guess.
Well, mate, that's not a bad thing. Have you been into the coach's box with Des yet, or you just sit in the stands?
I've kind of avoided it. I spoke to Kieran Foran about it, and he goes, "Mate, you do not want to be up there. It's just like torture for the whole game, and you don't want to make a noise. You don't want to swing on your chair just in case he looks back and just sprays you." So I've kind of just sat on the bench with the boys and just looked up and just sort of laughed, but I don't know if I'm going there anytime soon.
No, I would advise against it. I think I did it a couple of times, and I soon realised it's not a place for me because you like you say, you've one slight wrong movement or one wrong comment, and you cop the spray. So I think you're doing the right thing there. In terms of the injury, you'll be back for round one next year. That's the plan. Round one next year. Like I said, it's a bit of a slow process, and actually, just before this podcast, kind of when I met up, and my left knee's playing up now. So it hasn't really set anything back now, but it's a bit of a frustrating thing, having a bit of a bump in the road. But the goal is definitely to be back. Round one. Yeah, nice. Just on Des Hasler, I've shared a very special relationship with him. I was captain under him for 3 or 4 seasons at the Canterbury Bulldogs. You're experiencing it as well, so we've got that similarity. How have you found him in his opening 6 months, 7 months in charge of the Titans?
At first, it was obviously a bit different, but I love this. He's
I'm going to have to get you to expand. He is a bit different. I know what you mean by that. But can you give us a little bit more? He's a little bit different is like the understatement of the century. Talk to me about even day one in his address. What's different in your eyes about Des?
Well, I'll put it this way. The first meeting I had with Desi, I was obviously a bit nervous hearing stories and all the things that he's the type of person he is. And I started off pretty cruisy, and then he starts whacking the whiteboard, just getting into his football and getting real serious. And I was like, far out, this is intense. And then before you know it, he's got me on the ground, laying on the ground, showing me how to control the ruck. He's putting his elbow on my face. And this is I think, second time I've met him.
Is this in front of everyone or just?
No, just in the boardroom between just me and him and one of the other coaches. And and all the stories that like Kieran Foran and all these other fellas that I've heard is kind of come true. And he's got me on the ground, putting an elbow, going, mate, you just want to get into them and show them how it is, let them know that you're going to be there all game. And I thought that was funny. And I was just like, as soon as I, that broke the ice, and I was just like, this is the kind of coach that I want to play for. And just seeing the passion was different, but it was funny.
He's not doing that as an icebreaker. he sometimes you meet someone, let's break the ice with it. He's just doing that because I think that's all he knows. What about in the sort of the group and changes in training? I know Des innovates a lot with some of the weird and wonderful things that he brings to an organisation. But from a group perspective, how has he changed things there at the Titans?
He's changed so much, like everything with our culture, the way we D, our attack, just everything really in the club. And obviously it was frustrating at the start of the year. We didn't really like show what Des has shown us, but just his passion towards the game and the passion for the group that he has, and all the young fellas that kind of haven't experienced coach before, and that passion from a coach. And that's not knocking on other coaches I've had or been at the Titans, just Des is next level, as like you would know, and the people that know Desi, and it's just rubbed off the group, and we're starting to see glimpses of it now, and the boys love him for it because he loves the boys. Like I said, his passion, and then he has times where he keeps you accountable, and that's what we need, especially being a young group. We need that discipline and that relentlessness, and just the way the game's played and the detail. So it rubs up on everything in the club, and everyone loves it.
I know, obviously, you were coached by Bellamy as well. Excuse me. The pre-seasons under Des, like, I know other players that have been coached by both coaches, and other hard-nosed reputations that come with that, well, with a reputation of a very intense and time-consuming pre-season. How was the group? How did the group receive this new style? Because I'm assuming it was a lot more volume than you've done as a group before. Yeah,
for sure. It was definitely way more than we did in the past years, and even just with the detail and just the knowledge and the information was definitely like a lot for the boys, and it was kind of just learning the whole new game, So it was also mentally and physically, and the boys handled it well. At first, there was times where you kind of look at each other going, "Far out, when's this going to end?" And the boys would just get us through it. All the older boys that have experience, and like myself with Craig, and knowing that this is what we need, the boys just kind of followed us, and Foz, Isaac, Liu, and we just sort of led the way, and all the boys just jumped on the back of it, and it was a bit of a like, oh, no one's going to beat us this year, and it was kind of frustrating that the start of the year was awful, to be honest. Like, we weren't putting it together for Des, and it was quite frustrating, but the boys just jumped on and they loved it, and by the end of it became normal, and which instilling our effort areas and well from Desi, and it was good, but it was obviously frustrating at the start of the year.
Yeah, you mentioned a phrase there. you can come away from it going, no one's going to beat us this year.
Yeah,
like, he can really instill that level of belief into you because you are so well drilled. Yeah. Everything like a fine-tooth comb in terms of detail. Yeah. I always thought about with Des, like, plenty of people watch the game, but he sees the game in a different light, and almost even, yourself, you play in the middle.
Yeah.
For me, as a middle under Des, it opened up so many new opportunities and different ways that I saw the game. Yes, your fundamentals, you run hard, you tackle hard, you play the ball quickly, you work hard for your teammates, but there was other things that he could see and pick apart and help you as a middle grow your game and take you to the next level.
Yeah, and it's always frustrating from my end because I didn't really get to put it into the games, and I didn't get all the stuff that he was teaching me to put it in the game, and that's why I felt like I let Des down, obviously, with my injury, that I didn't get to repay him for the hard work he did for me in the preseason. And I think there was one stage in the preseason, he looked at me, and I thought he was going to make his dry jokes, and I was like, oh, here we go, here's Desi. And he looked at me, and he just goes, and this is pretty crazy, he just looked at me and go, mate, if you work hard, I'm going to make you the best player in the game. And it gives me like a bit of shivers now, because I'm just like, far out, man, like, a coach saying that and having that belief in me is massive, and I feel a bit emotional saying that, but like all that stuff he's teaching me was leading towards that, and then to get knocked down round 2, and obviously with the injury was frustrating, and I guess that's what all the effort that I see Des do and all the stuff that you learn, not just the fundamentals, that it makes me more excited for when I'm back, to learn from Des and have another year under him, and then I can repay him with good games and just being that leader that the club needs. And so I've still got a lot of learning to do with Des, and I can't wait to learn more, apart from just the fundamental stuff, and get into that more detailed stuff.
It's so smart, that little comment, because it stays with you. And the almost feeling of invincibility that you start to have, it's not just you it affects the other members of the group, because I'm sure, you know, not too dissimilar to myself, if I'd get a message not like that but similar to that, I start to drag people with me. I start to be like, well, hang on, we're all in this and no one's going to beat us. And you can't say that thing to everybody, but saying it to someone like you, I'm guessing you would have looked around and said, right, lads, we're all in this, follow me.
Yeah, and it just, like you said, took me to that another level in training. And like I said, I felt like no one was going to beat us. Just having that confidence and the amount of work that we did, and, you know, dragging the boys, and, you know, also Kieran doing that, Isaac Liu, Brimson, dragging everyone with us. And like I said, I felt like we were going to, you know, beat everyone. No one was going to beat us. But I think it was good for us, because the boys were starting to realise how much effort Des was putting in, the confidence he was putting into us, and just seeing us leaders really move our club forward, that next step to go to. And I love him for it. I love him for to see that care and that passion.
Yeah, so the start of the season, like you say, didn't go so well. I think lost the opening 3 or 4, and then you go over to the Warriors and somehow come away with a victory overseas. Yourself were missing, and a lot of people put a line through the Titans, and what a mistake that was. Even myself, I'm thinking maybe Des has lost his touch. I don't know what's up, but a lot of those losses were very close. How was it in the camp? Because when change comes in, you almost expect that instant result. Like you say, the start of the preseason, no one's going to beat us, and then you're like, shit, hang on, they are. How was it for the lads in the group and yourself, even being on the outside, to be, we've got to keep the faith here. We are, things are going to turn.
Yeah, I think it started from our leaders, and especially Des. I think being that experienced coach that has been through all that, he just kept instilling in the boys, like, we're staying in this, like, we're all in, we're not giving up. You know, every person and their dog in this world are going to rule us out, you know, and we just kept that all as receipts. And the boys finally got their win, and we still had a bit of an up and down sort of road to get some consistent wins of lately. But just Des just instilling and believing in us, like, we ain't done yet, boys. And it's good to see, like I said, that there's a few wins. We just got to keep it rolling. And it's just started from that man, the man himself, Des. So just that passion and that want to get that win.
Mate, you watch him on TV or in the media, and he's very different to the person that's in and around the training ground.
Yeah,
he's actually got some humour about him as well. Has he got the guitar up for you boys yet? I'm sure Foz would be able to testify that he's actually really good on the guitar. I think he was in a band at some point as well.
Well, I could see that actually. The whip his head doing that. but he's such a, you know, he kind of gives no one anything on the outside of them walls, you know. But when he's inside and, like, he starts his meetings off with his dry humour jokes just to start the day and get the boys up, and then you think, oh, this is in a good mood, then bang, straight in a 40, and then he just sprays you and goes, see this here, and just goes off his nut. But he just knows how to work the group, you know, like, he knows how to get people out of their seat, you know, focus on, like, what are we doing today, what's Desi saying, and then bang, puts it on you. So he's funny, I give it to him, you know, like, obviously I'm not in the meetings now, but, like, whenever I see him, he's got his hard handshake and he wants to hit you, and then at the start you're a bit like, oh, you're going to rip my arm off here, but then now you just go for it, you know, and give him a shoulder. So he's got a humour about him, but no one else really sees that unless you're inside them walls, and I think that's the best thing about it.
Yeah, he's certainly he's got a different character, a different persona. He's probably got multiple personality disorder, but I mean, I'm not a medical doctor or anything like that, but that would be my observation, because you see him on the screen, you're like, that is not the person that I know, but it's a person he wants to portray. In some of those meetings, who's his lads that he'll pick on? Is there anyone in particular that that's maybe got a target on their back? One that springs to mind for us was Timmy Laffey. Always into Timmy Laffey, and Joshy Reynolds as well. both of those two struggled to do anything right, no matter what, when it came to Des. But that built something within the group, that he has those people that he can sort of not pick on, but yes, they're the target of the attack. Yeah,
and even if they're not involved, they still somehow get sprayed, which is funny. And we've got a few of them. A few of the younger boys, like Tony Francis, like he's made a whole new name up for him, you know, and I forget what it is, but he doesn't call him Tony, he calls him something else. So it's like them little things that starts the day, and like, you know, you kind of laugh and you go, oh, right, he's going to cop it today. And other boys like Jalen the Groot and Oscar Bryant, like all our young fellas, just keep them honest, you know, keep them on their toes, and I like that. And I'm just glad it's not me. I'll just kind of hide and go, oh, don't look this way, Desi. But he has a few, and I love it. It's funny.
One of the guys that has really rose to promise under Des is Keanu Keene. Keanu Keene. Keanu Keene, yeah. Difficult for me to get that one out. Can you tell us about his rise and just how much time Des spends with him in that game development? Because I think back to my time at the Dogs with Benny Barber, even Sammy Perrott, the amount of work he does with his fullbacks is insane.
Yeah, it was. It would have been it was definitely intense for Keanu being a young fellow, but with Keanu's work ethic and the want to get better as a player is honestly the best I've seen with my short career so far. And just the way Des just ride him at training, like he's one of them fellas that he'd pick on, like not in like a humour way, just to keep pushing him like on the line. If he got his numbers wrong, like he'd just be the first person, like Keanu, you know, like letting him know. But that's just the both of them working hard together, and you know, Keanu not having an ego and going, oh, I'm not listening to Des, you know, it's too full on. He's gave himself all to Des, and he's just taking it on, and we're seeing the glimpses in games where we can see Keanu's going to get to. And it's honestly, it does get intense at training, especially when I was that forward at A and you just hear Des riding him. But it's good, you know. That's what we've needed at our club, is boys to learn and boys to have someone there to keep them honest. And it makes me smile too, you know. Much as it's intense, I'm like, yes, because boys are gonna either take it on like Keanu, or they're gonna go the other way. And then that's when you start that culture where if you don't want to learn and take on what's going on, well, you don't need to be here, you know. And I don't think we've had that at the Titans ever. And to see that being formed is with Keanu and other young boys, and like myself, like it's awesome, and I like it. That's the way I want our club to go forward, and Des is the man to do it. And yeah, it's good. And
it comes from that place of wanting to improve you. As long as you know that and recognise that it's not a pick on. Yeah. It's not because he's got nothing better to do. It's actually, he's up my arse to make me a better player.
Yeah.
And, you know, build the trust within each other. So don't have to sit in the video and be like, why are you that wide today? Why have you done this?
Yeah.
Get those blow-ups out the way in training. And then in an ideal world, they don't happen in the game.
Exactly, and it's all just to come from care, you know. And if the coach ain't doing that to you, you kind of have to think, well, am I doing anything right, you know? Or am I asking him questions or anything like that? It's just because Des cares, and that's what the good coaches have, is they care for their player. They're not picking on you because they don't like you. Like, they want you to get better, and they want you to have the career that they see you in, you know. So, and like I said, I love it, man, and I can't wait till I'm on the field. So I'm getting yelled at, like, to remind myself to not get up sideways, and it's good. It's real good.
Has he blown up for anyone walking to water? So that used to be one of our rules, is you'd finish a conditioning drill.
Yeah.
So 20, 40, 60, whatever it may be. Go again. Okay, now we're on the drinks break. If you ever caught anyone walking to water, so you'd make the gear steward come and drop the water in the middle of the field, never bring it to you. So you have to jog to water. If you walk, like, I think that spray was worse than the you're too wide at A, you missed an opportunity here. Those are the little things that always will stay with me. That why are you fucking walking? It was like he was about to.
You look like twins.
Yeah. I've got to have. Mate, don't. It's ingrained. It's ingrained. Has he done one of those blow-ups yet, the walk-to-water blow-ups?
Yeah, I think every time, you know, especially at the start, like when the boys weren't, I guess, used to that, you know, because you always learn, like, body language, but when it comes to the water, you know, like, that was a new thing for a lot of us, just don't walk, just, you know, like, get there quick and be urgent. And it's good, like you said, the little things, because in a game, when you're under the pressure, you got to show urgency, and it's good. It is good. It keeps us honest. But there's been a few sprays from him with that. You just hear his voice. You're like, you don't walk. Don't be that guy that gets caught out. Yeah. So it's good.
It's something that, again, stayed with me. I left the Bulldogs, and it was just one of those things. I'd go to England camp, or when I went to the Dragons, just, no, you don't. Yeah. Just on the jog all the time, never stop. You and Des look like you've got this great relationship that's been formed. You're at the Titans for, you signed a 10-year deal. Yeah. Can I just ask why so long?
I think just that security, and also wanting to be at the Titans. I think you don't know what the game nowadays. You don't know what happened. Like, for example, my knee. First year into it, like, it's pretty crazy to see that happens. But I think just having that security for my young family, kind of played a big role in signing that long deal, and like I said, also being at the club. Like, I really see there's something for me at the club, and I really want to be a part of that. I want to be the first captain to bring a premiership to the Gold Coast Titans, and I'll do everything to get that. And however long it takes within them 10 years, I'm there for it. So. Just both the passion for the club and also just having that security for my young family, and providing for them. And you can't guarantee tomorrow, and things happen, and to have that is definitely something, I'm grateful for.
Well, you knocked back something that even the Bulldogs wouldn't have given me, and that's a pub. If only that was around when I was there. Jeez, that club has changed for the better. Look, obviously,
can't say there was nothing back in the day, but
oh dear. Obviously that not just the pub, but the interest from some of the Premier teams in Sydney must have been head turning.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. Like when it sort of came around with obviously the whole situation with Justin and that clause, and it was kind of everything kind of just happened, and I think I tossed it up to my manager just as a bit of a joke, like ages ago. Like, imagine being a Tomalolo or like a Cherry Evans, where you do get that, and then kind of just put it out in the world, and then a couple of months later, a long time later, this sort of happened, and then clubs were keen, and obviously it wasn't just the Titans, a few other clubs, and just to hear that and that belief from other clubs, and obviously the Titans, that they wanted me to be their player for the next 10 years was honestly amazing, and it was just sort of grateful, and it was a bit buzzy at times. And even now, like you mentioned, the 10 years that I've signed, like even then, that's still buzzy. I still can't believe that. And it was a crazy time, and I'm just glad that it's all done, I guess.
In terms of you being that person that lifts the first trophy for the Titans, what are the other building blocks that need to go in to the Titans in order to get there? Because it's a long journey. The Titans haven't had success before. What do you think they need to get there?
That's a tough question. That's very tough. We've got a lot to learn. Like, there's definitely positive things that are happening this year, but a lot of little things with our detail and attention to detail with, our D, our attack, our off-field stuff. Just a lot of that stuff when you're at a good club and obviously winning down a Storm, and when you win a Premiership, all them little things that off-field and your work away from it, and with training, the D and attack, like, it all adds up. It all adds up, and it's sort of hard just to pick one thing. And obviously the defence is a big one for me. Like, if we're the best defensive team in the comp, there's a big chance that you're going to win the comp. So that's a big one, but I still think a lot of little things away from our game. And, if you're walking past a piece of rubbish, like, you want to believe that every player in your team's going to pick that up, and it might not make sense, that little things, but for me, like, if you're leaving that, what are you doing on the field, So when we get to that stage where the boys are realising that, even myself, keeping honest, and seeing them little things away from footy is that's when I know we're taking a step further to be that powerful culture in that club.
It's important when you say that those little things, it's maybe not one big building block. It's one of those little things, or that changing culture, because I often look at out of Sydney teams, so team like Melbourne, very successful from almost the outset, which you were a part of, and you've seeing the clues that the success leaves there. Go to a club like the Titans, which probably were a little bit renowned for having a culture of people are there for a lifestyle as opposed to playing football. Is part of your role as a leader to get that and say, if you come in here for a fucking beach holiday and some winter sun, piss off. Like, we're here for business.
100%. I think since I've first signed that first contract with Titans, like back in 2021 or 2020 at the start of it, like that was like my whole thing. Like, Gold Coast is beautiful, but I'm not coming in up here to have that lifestyle. You know, like I don't really care about it. Like it's a bonus, but all I kept thinking was just like, if everyone's on about the lifestyle, so imagine if we put footy first, win, and have that good culture, it's just a bonus on the side. You know what I mean? Like,
I do.
That's the way I see it. Yeah. Like, let's not worry about that now. Let's worry about building our club and having that winning culture that lasts for a long time. And then we have the luxury to be able to go to the beach. Winter time, it's 24 degrees in winter. You know, you get to go to the beach. Like, let's move that aside and focus purely on that. And we got it good, you know, like we have the best of both worlds. Like you go down to Melbourne, they have the winning club and that culture, but then it's freezing cold, you know. So like we got to be grateful for what we've got in the Gold Coast, but let's purely focus on becoming that team and get rid of that in the club, because I don't care about it, you know, and everyone else needs to have that mentality, I guess.
Mate, even just spending a short amount of time with you, I can see you've got these incredible leadership attributes and are almost what people would describe as a natural leader. When I've spoke to people about you, they said you were just an absolute natural. Where does that come from? This obviously physical attributes, the way you play the game, but not all those type of people are great leaders. And especially, mate, it's funny. Charlie and I were on the way here, and we were like, he's fucking 24. Like, what's going on? Like, normally it takes a lot longer to develop this level of maturity.
I wouldn't say I'm a great leader, brother, but I'm still learning a lot. Yeah. But I guess just obviously from my mum and dad, and just learning from them and whatnot. But also coming from a small country town, I think it builds a bit of resilience in you. Obviously, always losing, and you come to Gold Coast and University scene, and you basically get mercy ruled every time. I think that kind of taught me just to be resilient and be that leader, because coming from the town, obviously I was a bigger boy, and a lot of them young country boys would look to me to, I guess, to help, and I kind of naturally just did it because I cared for my teammates, and I think that really instilled that in me, just that fight and that, I guess, that underdog mentality, and that's helped me till today, you know, because I grew up never winning, you know, and it'd be crazy to have a game where we would be in it, you know, and that resilience and that fight from all the country boys, I look to them, you know, them the boys that live in 8 hours inland, you know, they're playing country footy, barely any opportunity out there, it's hot, you know, and looking at them was like a thing where like I wanted to play hard for them, and I reckon that's what stuck with me till now, I guess.
But even, you know, you spoke about the pieces of rubbish. Well,
yeah.
Well, is that a learned behaviour? Is that something that you've looked into to develop yourself as a leader, or is that just a natural instinct?
I think it's just a natural thing, to be honest. Yeah. What my parents taught me, just respect wherever you are, and it definitely comes from them, you know, because they're the type of people to do that, and I guess it just was instilled in me from a young age, and without knowing, and I guess, and then you go to Storm, and then you realise how important that is, the little things, and then you start to realise like it all matters in the end, you know, and whatever you're doing in life, like the little things always matter, you know. So definitely started my parents, and then obviously going to Storm, going to a good culture, definitely enhanced it. Yeah.
How do you feel being a leader at such a young age? Because you were 22 when you were named captain of the Titans. I
think so. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you take on that responsibility, because it is different when you have a C next to your name. People, I think I probably underestimated it. I just thought, well, I'm just still, I am who I am, but it comes with so much more responsibility. And in your position, being so young, you would have been, okay, I'm going to be addressed. I'm going to have the final say.
Yeah.
And there's some lads there that have played in test matches, played in finals games, etc., that are way more experienced than I am.
Yeah. It's been probably one of the hardest thing to deal with, I guess, throughout my career. Like, because you're so young, like you're still basically a kid yourself, and you're still learning the game. And I think that's the hardest thing is like you do have to, I guess, change a little bit in the way you lead. Like, still keep your natural in the way you do things, but be yourself. But like having a joke with the boys, before a game, little things like that where you probably can't have them as often because you have to be switched on. And for the club that at the Titans, that we're still learning and we're still trying to build that resilience where because I make a joke doesn't mean like I know my game and I have to stay focused, but then it might affect everyone else around me where they think, oh, Tino's relaxed and whatnot. So it's definitely a hard thing. And I think a big one too is learning from Cameron Smith. I think the hardest thing was like, I'm not Cameron Smith, and I lead the way Tino leads. And it's so hard because I've learned from him and been, captained by him that you think that you have to be Cameron Smith. And, I was at the back end of Cam's career where he was 30-something and, he had his journey to be a captain, and I don't need to be that straight away. I just need to be Tino and I need to learn on the way. And it is hard because at times you think, oh, what would Smithy do? What would Smithy do? And what would Cherry Evans do? Where I just got to remember to just be myself and just what would Tino do? So it's a hard question because there's so many things on my mind. I probably confused it a bit, but it is hard. It is hard because you definitely have to be yourself, but also change and adapt and realize that your words do affect a bit more around the outside. If you know what I mean?
No, absolutely, I do.
I confused it a bit.
No. I actually 100% know what you mean, and it adds to the degree of difficulty the fact that you're talking to older players and almost that little bit of inferiority, being like, should I be saying that? What are they gonna judge me?
Yeah. I think I kind of didn't struggle with that because I was just like, I don't know. I think I was just so pumped with the game. Was like, or whatever. I'm just like, I was kind of confident with that, and it was also because Isaac Liu and Kieran Ford and them older players, they instilled that belief in me. Like they didn't have egos where they were like, oh, what's this guy saying? If they had something to say, they would say it to me straight away or help me. And I think that's why it's made it easy, and I haven't worried about that because I know they believe in me and they remind me and look at me and go, you're our captain, like we believe in you, we're here to support you. And I think that's massive because a lot of people see what they do on the field, but they don't see what they do away from it for me, and, even little things for in the huddle, it's not always me speaking, I look at Foz and kind of just nod at him or Isaac Liu and they're there straight away to back me up and go, hey boys, you listen on me. So they've given me the confidence and I guess that's why I've never worried about it, but they've been massive for me.
One of the things, again, from the outside looking in, that I've admired about you as a leader is your willingness to front up during difficult times. So I think it was last season where the Titans were going through that bit of a phase of starting games really well, having a lead, and then falling off. I think there was a particular game against the Broncos, maybe. And
we were up by a lot in the first half, and then we fell off the cliff.
And you fell off the cliff. And obviously, I worked for Triple M, and you came on and fronted up, and I could hear the pain in your voice, and the confusion, and the almost lack of understanding of what had actually just happened. And I think what translated through that was like, you've got a bloke here that cares and isn't just going to run away and go, get me, I'd dig a hole and swallow me up, let the earth swallow me up.
Yeah, it was very hard. It was very hard. And I think, like, as a leader, you it is a lot of, I guess it is a lot put on you, and that game especially, like there's a lot of things that I could have done and I could have addressed the boys better when, you know, I feel like it was partially my fault, you know, like, you know, I don't run away from it. You just like, it's a hard thing to answer, but like, yeah, I care so much about the club and I care so much about the result when, you know, you feel like when you lose, like the world's on top of you and, you know, you feel like crying, you feel like just going like, wow, what do I do? And I think that's a part of my leadership and my journey to learn like how to deal with things and what can we do better in different situations. But it is. I feel like it's a hard one to answer because I'm like, it's hard to talk about, you know, the way I feel, you know, and whatnot.
But it was impressive. Like it really was. It blew us all away. Because the last thing you want to do after that is speak to some people in the commentary box.
Yeah. It's hard to hear it. Like it's, you know, I don't know. It sounds weird, but it's hard to hear it as like impressive because I'm like, that's your job as a captain, as a leader. You know, like you're there to protect your players, and it should be just normal. You know, like. I'm getting emotional again. I don't know why, like footy and that, but like it's just normal. Like you're the leader. Like you're the one that goes first in anything, you know, and you take whatever for your teammates. Because I don't know, I'm getting emotional, but like that's just the game you play, you know.
Yeah.
So sorry about that, but
no.
That's how much I care about the boys, you know. And you take the brunt of everything for your boys to get better, and hopefully they see that and go, "Oh, I want to play for him," you know. So. I don't know why I get emotional about footy and my teammates.
Because you care. And it's I always say this, like, rugby league is a made-up game with made-up rules. And these clubs are made up. But it fucking makes us do some crazy shit and makes us go into places that some people can't comprehend. And, you know, you lose a round 15 game.
Yeah. And,
like, you're in the sheds and I've been there where you're like, I don't understand why I'm just this wave of emotion comes over you, and you're like, what is this all about? And then someone's like, it's just a game. It's like, well, it's fucking not.
What pisses you off when you're like, there's much more than that, and if you don't have that connection, that emotion for the game, you know, why you're playing it, you know, like you got to have that to survive in the game. And I know I've only had a short career, but when you see players like yourself, Sam Burgess, Cam Smith, you know, them players that play the game for so long, it's because they're emotionally connected to the game. Like, if you're playing it just for the paycheck and it's just a game, like, you're not in it for the right reasons, you know. So, the fans that say that, you just don't understand unless you're in your spot, you know, where you got to be emotionally connected to it to be successful or go long into this career.
One of those players that you've got a real bond and an emotional connection with is David Fifita. You were, I'm assuming, delighted with his decision to stay. Just what does it mean to have that person next to you for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, it means so much. I love Dave. He's one of my best mates. Like, we've been through this together since we were under 12s, making our first rep team together, you know, and much as we weren't always together, he was in Goldie, I was in Widgie, you know, Gympie, and but we still always had that connection when we see each other. And to see him first initially talks about him leaving, I never thought I'd be emotional. Like, I never thought, like, I was just more like, whatever decision he makes, I'm happy for him, because if that's what he thinks is best for him, I got to support him as a mate. But it hit me, like, I was just like, oh my God, like, I felt like I failed Dave, like, with all of it, because we promised each other, like, one day we'll lift the trophy up together at the Titans, be the first to do it. And I guess being the first kind of major signings for the Titans, we felt like we owed that to the club. And to see him leave was just like, well, thought he was leaving. To see him potentially leave, and I sort of looked at him and was like, wasn't many words said to each other, but we knew how we felt, and I just felt like I failed you. And I said that to him, and that's all I said. And then to see him backflip and realise, like, I guess a lot of things with his family and staying up here, it just made me happy, because David, as much as people might not see it, he is one of the faces for the Gold Coast, and the public love him, and we love him as a player, and he can do things that players can't, you know, and you need players like that in your team. And also his character away from the game, like with us boys, like he's similar to Des. He doesn't show much in the media. Like, he's a staunch fella, but he's a character, you know, and he's one of my good mates, and I'm just glad that we get another shot while I'm back next year, you know, to have a crack at that title, and hopefully we don't, you know, fail that dream. But if not, hopefully we can stay together and keep kicking on.
So those are the only words that you used with him?
Yeah, I looked at him because it was awkward because he knows how passionate, and I know he's passionate about the club, but to hear the rumours was like, he knew how I felt, and I was kind of like, oh, I don't want to swear because my mum and dad are watch this, but I was kind of like, you know, F you, brother. Like, not, you know, like, it's not in a bad, like, I want you to fail way. It was more like, oh, fuck, you jumped off the train early, bro. Like, we were meant to do this together, you know, and he knew that. And I looked down and said, I failed you, and then sort of walked away, and then he kind of looked at me, and then that was all that was said. And then he told me first what happened, you know, like about the backflip, and I thought he was joking. I was just so happy. I was like, yes, Dave, let's go get this, you know. And I was just excited for the future, you know, and hopefully we can achieve that.
Did Des have a big part to play in that, do you think?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I didn't hear a lot about it, but when Dave first told me, Desi called, and Desi called him and was just like, you got to get to the club. To Dave, because I was meant to go to a promo with him to Brisbane, and I turned up at his house looking, you know, I thought, oh, stingy fella, I have to pick him up and take him. But then he goes, oh, I have to stay, I have to go to the office. And I go, shut up, get in the car, let's go. And then Des called, and all he says, like, I need to go see Des, he wants me to come to the office. And then he goes, I think I'm backflipping. And then I had to go to the promo, and then I just, in my head, I was going, holy, I can't believe this is happening. Like, and then I was just going, why did you put yourself under that much pressure on the media, you know, like, or it wasn't really him, it was just everyone around him making the noise, you know, and he knew what was right for him and his partner and his family, and they play a massive role in his life. And, they're the reason why he's here today. You know, without his family, he wouldn't be where he is. So I'm happy for him. He's happy. So
happy for yourself as well. I can only imagine that feeling.
Yeah.
Yes, he's back.
Playing music loud as I can't wait for this promo.
Mate, just going back to earlier in your career, coming through the Melbourne Storm again, renowned for being this club that's built on success and hard work. You as a young boy / man going down there into moving cities, moving state, a long way away from your family. How did you adapt to life down there?
I was excited. You know, obviously it was a massive change, and obviously the weather's different and whatnot. Like, the city's massive, but I was excited because I was like, I come from the country and there's not much happening. I always wanted to go to the big smoke to see what it's like, and it was good. It was good. It was definitely hard, but I kind of already knew that going down there because my dad would read the newspaper, and he wanted me to go down there knowing how hard, like, the preseason is, and he knows that it would take me to that next level. So it was hard at times being away from the family and that, but I loved every minute of it. Like, it was the best thing I've ever done in my life, and it's up there, and it was quite easy to fit in because everyone down at the Storm, they're all from different places, you know. Like, I was at the homestay, and one of the fellas from New Zealand, you know, a whole country away, you know, and it doesn't seem far, but for them it's a big change. So we all just locked together and knuckled down and just worked hard together, and I guess that's why the culture is so good down there, because wherever you're from, you're welcome, and we'll make you feel welcome, and we'll get through this together.
It must have been incredible to play with that forward pack. I'm thinking the 2020 season when you went on to win it. It was an embarrassment of riches that you guys have. What was it like for you as a teenager / 20-year-old playing in and around those, you know, some of the best forwards that our game has seen in the last 10, 20 years? Yeah,
it was, looking back at it, it's crazy, and honestly, it just happened so quick. You know what the footy career is like, it just happened so quick. But when you look back on it, the players that I played with, and Jesse Bromwich, and especially that 2020 season, like, Nelson was next to me off the bench, Brendan Smith, you know, and at times Dale Finucane was on the bench, two of us, and after coming back from injury. But just being around them fellas was just in the moment, I don't think you realise because you just they're your mates.
Yeah.
But then when you look back at it now, like especially Jesse, for what he's achieved in his career and to still keep going, like it's honestly, that's why I look up to him, you know, from a young age because he welcomed me in, he showed me respect and taught me the way, and it's amazing and grateful for it, and hopefully I can have a career like Jesse or, you know, Dale Finucane where they're respected in the game and are known for that hard knock forward, and it's crazy. It was crazy. It's the crazy lineup, especially in the forward pack.
Were you ever tempted to go back? Were they one of the teams that came for you to come back when you were off contract?
Yeah, well, it's a hard question to say, like, but yeah, definitely. Like, I don't want to burn bridges on that, but like, they're definitely a club that if I ever moved, that'd be the first club I want to go back to. You know, I'm hoping, you know, like obviously you don't know where you're going to end. You might be desperate for a club, so I don't want to burn bridges. But
of course, absolutely.
If I ever got to the point where I look to move or things don't go right, I definitely would look at going back to the Storm and just having that connection. And I guess you've been a part of that club, you feel like there is a connection still. And I wouldn't. Yeah.
One of those guys that you're very close with down in Melbourne was Brandon Smith, the Cheese, friend of the show. I mean, I don't know where this goes. He didn't give much more information. He just says his nickname was Dumb Boy, never eat salad, and he always has ringworm. I mean, be more than grateful for you to just fire back at Cheese, or you're a hulking human being. I'm assuming there is a bit of salad in there. Ringworm, look, never had it myself, but I know it spreads like wildfire in the rugby league circles. And Dumb Boy.
It's funny. He's thrown me under the bus for that. I'd probably take ringworm over what probably Brendan's had, but with the Dumb Boy thing, it was like, it might sound silly, but growing up, sort of when we got that teenagers year, like with Dad, like, and my brother, whenever something would never go right in the game, like you would stuff up and make a mistake, we used to say that after the game. My dad was definitely strict as we were younger, but as we started to, like, you know, make jokes and that, if my brother knocked the ball on, it would come off and Dumb Boy, or we'll catch the ball, you know, like. And then I've always just said it, and then we moved down to the Storm, and we had this fella that I was staying with that was from New Zealand, good fella, but coming from rugby and going to league, he just didn't understand it, like understand the game, which is fair enough, like it's a big jump. And so me like saying that word all the time, we would end up saying it to him, you know, we'd say, oh, Dumb Boy, you know, like. And then before you know it, it's throughout the whole club. Like, everyone say it. Then Cam Smith starts saying it. And then he leaves. And then who's it come back on? Me. And I guess I did do some dumb things on the field. That's how you learn. But, like, so the name was just thrown at me. And then I hate the name, but it is what it is. It was funny. And, yeah, that's where it's all kind of all started. And then the ringworm, I'm not the original. They try to say it was me, but I know there's a few boys. Scott Drinkwater. Ryan Pappenhausen, they had a few staff going around on their face, and then being the youngest one, humble you, they throw it onto you. And then I did get a few, but you know what? That's life. That's what happens when you wrestle. So when you're wrestling with dirty boys all the time.
Always blame it on as long as you don't bring it into the club, then that's fine. No salad. Are you carnivore or?
I grew up I ate it when I was younger. I still I have it now when it's mixed in with like meat, but like I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah,
I just look at it and go, how's that? It's definitely nutritious, like but I have it now and then. But it's not the first choice on my plate. Like if I've seen 4 steaks there and a bowl of salad, I'm saving myself for the 4 steaks, you know. So
only 4.
Yeah, only 4. Yeah, so that's where it is. And he would get into me about it, but you know what? That's what happens when you're a young fella. You get bullied.
I don't think Cheese is anyone to take diet advice off or hygiene advice off. So we've seen him come into the studio a couple of times.
Stay at his house, and I know he ain't clean. So
on to just things on the representative level. I know obviously a passionate Queenslander, but were you born in New South Wales?
Yeah, no, I was. I was born in New South Wales, as much as I hate to admit it. But yeah, I was born in Orange. Yeah, I left when I was 14 weeks, and yeah, moved up to a small country town in Widgie, and grew up there.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then moved to Gympie when I was older. So
yeah, so
it doesn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't. That's 14 weeks. Nothing doing there. But Australia, playing for Australia, it always fascinates me this because I live here in Australia and I know the beast of Origin, but I really want us the pinnacle of our sport to be international football. You got to experience that with Australia in the World Cup final. What's the difference between Australia and Queensland? And I speak to players from the 80s before Origin became the beast that it was.
Yeah.
And for them, like the green and gold, those tours meant everything to them. And Origin, I say unfortunately, it's sort of taken it over a little bit. But what was it like for you representing Australia, especially against, I believe, the country of there's heritage there for Samoa? What was that experience like, and what was it like to play with the green and gold?
It was awesome. Like the passion, any jersey I put on is still. I like to think it's all even because I just love the game, and whoever I'm playing with, I just want to protect them and do my best for them. But yeah, it was awesome because growing up, I never got the opportunity to play for Australia in the schoolboy ranks, and I always wanted to achieve that, and to be able to achieve it at the highest level was awesome, and it meant so much to me because, you know, as much as, you know, I love my Samoan side and my dad's Samoan, and he pushed for it a lot too, was Australia gave me an opportunity to fulfill my dream, you know, and raise my kids now. But then Australia gave an opportunity for my dad to come over and have his footy career, and then meet my mum, and then have us, you know. So, you know, these are his words saying to me, you know, like, it gave me opportunity for you kids to have an education, have a safe life. Like, you love your Samoan side, but he feels that, you know, that's what you need to do in your career was play for Australia. And I've always wanted that, and to hear that from Dad and him being Samoan was massive. And even him being the older man, I was like, even he says the highest level was Australia, you know, like you go to a pub, you play for the Kangaroos, like everyone knows that in the pub, you know, and he knew that even though he was Samoan, and he wanted me to achieve that, and I did, and I'm pretty fortunate that I did.
Yeah, that's cool that your dad recognised it as being, that was the pinnacle. Do you think he preferred watching you play for Australia than play for Queensland?
Oh, well, that's tough. I'd like to say that even, but I think Queensland.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe ask my dad, it'd probably be different. You know, like, I think him playing for Samoan rugby and coming to league and sort of having his chance at the Roosters, like, I think he, you know, probably being an opponent of Australian rugby was just like, well, they're the highest level, you know, like that. He understood that, I guess. So.
Yeah, well, hopefully we get to see you in a green and gold jersey again. Like, I love the international game.
Yeah.
It gave me some of my best memories. I'm sure yourself, when you were on tour over there, you see what the English crowds are like, and the atmosphere and just what it means to those people is huge. Did you like your time over there on tour?
Yeah, I loved it. It was massive. It's gonna be a massive memory. It was stick with me forever, and had that much fun, you know, met new boys, you know, and got along with, you know, like Nathan Cleary, and played some awesome players. Like, I had that much fun over there, and it was, like I said, it's a memory that's going to stick with me forever.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed you get another crack. I think the Ashes are over here soon, World Cup. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I love watching the Aussie lads go over there and do their thing, because
England fans don't really like us. So.
No, well,
the final was it was just all Samoan fans and they're all English. So
we've got to cheer for the underdog, mate. Mate, we'll get on to the 4 questions for each and every guest.
Yeah.
So first off, the dream spine. No real rules, just a 1, 6, 7, 9.
Billy Slater, Cam Smith, JT, and Cooper Cronk.
Yeah, nice that. All
It's crazy to think. It's crazy to think they played together for that long.
It is.
Like, well, even before that, Cooper Cronk was 14 off the bench from Queensland, and then you had Darren Lockyer playing. You're like, it's crazy. It is crazy. So that's my spot.
It's almost not fair if it seems that went up against that. No wonder they dominated for so long.
For sure.
If football didn't exist, what do you think you'd be doing?
Definitely be doing something in construction. Coming from the country town, I got my Cert 1 and 2 in construction engineering. So pretty basic certificates, but I'm proud of that. I didn't think I would, finish school or whatnot, and I achieved all that. And I reckon, just being in a construction business, hopefully owning a business and being a foreman, don't have to work too much. So
just delegating work. You do that, I'll do this.
Yeah.
A sliding doors moment that you think about in life?
Probably having my first baby, Alina, when I was 19. Found out when I was 18, and with my partner now. And we've been together since high school. And moving to Melbourne, and she staying up in Brisbane was obviously long distance. And then hearing that we're going to have our first baby at a young age was a massive moment for me, because my dad was pretty strict with all that type of stuff, and my mum. And I think a lot of people too, coming from the town or everywhere that knew me, will kind of looked at it like, he's having a kid at a young age is probably, failed. He probably hasn't. He'll get tied up in being a dad and forgetting about what, his goal was with footy. And that was probably a massive moment for me, where I was like, you know what, I'm going to take up 2 hands and be the best dad I can, the best partner, and be the best footy player I can too. So I think that's a massive moment for me, and it definitely changed my life. So
yeah, I bet it did. I didn't have kids till I was maybe 30, and it flipped my life upside down. I was pretty, especially being a footballer.
Yeah.
How did you find that I guess the juggle of life and football? And I can see spending a small amount of time with you, just how much football means, and it almost comes first. But you've also got a young child at home that it is everything.
Well, I'll give it back to my partner. She's massive. She was young too, and we're both the same age. And I probably didn't understand what it took to be a dad. And I guess that's how you grow and go with it. And come home, I've been trained all day, and they'd say hello, and then I'd just go jump on the PlayStation, And I never understood, and definitely wouldn't say I was a bad father. I was definitely learning. I would, I was a good father, and but you just didn't realize the big shift in prioritizing things, footy and regular things, where that ends up being naturally being your first, So it was tough, but I had a good partner that made me grow up and made me, I guess, mature a little bit more, and I wouldn't change it for the world. So definitely was hard at times, but 3 kids later, we're still kicking on. So,
do you think it helped you become a better leader?
Yeah, I think so. I definitely think so, because you're the man of the house and you have to lead, and you got, now, like I said, 3 kids that are looking up to you, and they learn everything, much as you don't think. You could be something silly yelling at the TV, and then you hear them say it, and you're going, hey, what are you doing? Yeah.
Where have I heard that before?
Yeah. So, it definitely, it definitely makes you a better leader, because you lead at home.
Finally, the most interesting person that you've met in your young life?
I had a thought about this one. I would probably say Des. I reckon I would say Des. He's definitely an interesting man, and I'm still forming that relationship with him. So I'm still excited to see what goes on up in his brain, and he's definitely someone I think is pretty interesting. So,
mate, absolutely. To start that first or second meeting, and he's got you on the ground,
elbows in the head.
I can just imagine you just thinking when someone going to come in and say this is a joke. I got you. When kids get, or when young players get their debut and they film their reaction. They should have just set that up for you. Just put the camera in the corner of the room, just film let Des go at it.
It wouldn't have mattered. He hits the wall that hard when he's saying something. It would have fell down.
Oh God, mate, it's so funny listening to you, because it makes me miss him. It makes me miss those times that we had together where you just caught up in the in the web of Des and his life and his philosophies and everything that he brings. He's sensational. Wait till you boys do the team review at the end of the season and everyone gets their individual reviews. You think your report cards from school were bad, but it is. It's incredible because, like we spoke earlier, it all comes from that place of love and care, and you get this end of season review, and it's just, I want to go and get better. He
cares and makes you care for him because you don't want to let him down. So I'm excited. Judging off 2 games, let's see how we go.
Well, you could have had a pub, mate. That's all I'm saying. Mate, Tino, thank you so much for joining us here on the Buy Round and sharing your story. And I am in awe of you for what you've achieved in the game, the way you speak about the game, your love for the game, you care, you're passionate. And I am, look, when Des signed to the Titans, I thought they'd go places. And after speaking to you and the trajectory that you are on as an individual and as a club, the sky is the absolute limit. I'm so excited for what you guys are about to achieve there. So look forward to watching you progress, and thank you for joining us on the Byron, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. One of the biggest names in the game, and I'm looking forward to seeing you back next year.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
My man.
Mate, it was fucking awesome.